I had a lot going on, and I don't have time for her shit. Like, it was an understandable action. Zhao only shows slightly more concern, but still an amount that's low enough to be concerning for someone who's talking about their dead child. The audio for this interview is pretty bad. I tried to clean it up as best as I could.
Yesterday morning, we got up, we prepped Jojo for school. I took Jojo to school. I came back. When I came back, my wife was very angry at Ashley because she peed on her diaper and she pooped on her diaper. I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, but she's 5 years old and she's not potty trained, like, ever. And I'll explain that a little later. But so that got my wife angry and, said a few things like, you're just old, 5 years old, you still don't know how to go potty and poopy. And, my wife was in the room and she was outside in the living room. After she pooped and potty in her diaper, my wife knows that she had issues with potty training, so she was going, it's fine, but then she took off her diaper again. So that got my wife angry. And when you're 5 years old, you still don't know how to poop and potty. And my wife got angry and hit her head on the carpet, 2 times. And initially she was breathing. She was still breathing then. And
Did you see your wife do it?
Yeah.
He says that the previous morning, January 9th, they had gotten up and gotten their older daughter, Jojo, ready and that he had taken her to school. When he arrived back home, Ming Ming was very angry at Ashley because she had peed and pooped in her diaper. He says something I can't make out, and then says, I'll explain that later, which I don't think he ever does. Then he explains that Ming Ming started berating the girl, saying things like, quote, you're 5 years old and you still don't know how to go potty and poo-poo, end quote. It sounds like at some point Ashley took her diaper off, which angered Ming Ming enough to bash her head into the floor 2 times. Now let me take a minute to inject my opinion, which I don't think is going to be unpopular at all. It's a parent's job to potty train their child. A child who is 2 or 3 years old is not going to teach themselves how to use the toilet. If your child is 5 years old and doesn't know how to use the toilet, it's not their fault. Hopefully, this doesn't come as a shock to most of you, but it's the parents' fault. You haven't successfully potty trained them. I understand that Ashley lived with her grandparents until she was 4 years old, so they failed to potty train her. The bottom line is, it's never the child's fault that they don't know how to use the toilet. They aren't making a conscious decision to poop their pants just to spite you, so berating them over it, let alone bashing their head into the floor, is not the way to go about it.
So, right then she wasn't breathing?
No, she was breathing. She was breathing, and, I was like, okay, so she's still breathing, she's okay.
Was there any blood or anything?
No, there's no blood.
Was she walking?
No, she wasn't walking. She was breathing, but she was lying down. And I thought she was going to come out of it in a little bit, So she stopped. But I didn't realize she stopped. I thought she was breathing normally now. Because she was gasping, like it was, I can't really remember or recall exactly what, but it was a lot heavier than normal. So it sounded like a snore almost.
Okay.
So at that point she stopped. I thought, okay, so she's breathing normally now, so didn't really pay attention to it.
At this point, he tells investigators that Ashley was laying on the floor, breathing, and there was no blood. He said her breathing was heavy and audible, almost like a snore. Eventually, her heavy breathing went away, and he assumed that meant that she was breathing normally again, so he stopped paying attention to her. So after a head injury, his daughter was unconscious, taking labored, snore-sounding breaths, and when those breaths stopped, he had no fear that she may have stopped breathing. The fact that the child was even laying on the floor and not taken to the ER is already insane. But then you stop hearing your injured 5-year-old's breaths, and it triggers no worry in you whatsoever? I'm sorry, but some people are just not made to be parents.
And then a little later, I went to, hold her and just didn't feel right. And I checked her heart. It stopped beating. So I started panicking, and I tried to do CPR on her, try to breathe in her mouth, and give her chest compressions. I don't exactly know how long I did that for. I know I did it for a pretty darn long time, maybe 15 minutes to a half an hour, something like that. And that's when we realized she's gone. Like I tried, and I told my wife so kind of, maybe if I just realized it sooner, that when she stopped breathing, that snore sound, her heart stopped bleeding. Her heart stopped breathing her heart stopped beating at that time. Maybe I could have started compression then. That would have saved her or something. I don't know. I know that I didn't start directly right after because I thought she was breathing normally then.
When she was on the floor, you thought she was breathing?
Yeah, but she wasn't doing that snoring sound anymore. I thought she was breathing normally. I thought she was going to come out of it in like a little bit.
How long did she lay on the floor after?
After her head hitting the carpet?
Yeah.
2-3 minutes.
Liang Zhao says he went to hold Ashley, and she just didn't feel right, so he checked her heart and it wasn't beating. He claims to have attempted CPR for 15 to 30 minutes before coming to the realization that she was gone. He expresses guilt that he didn't check on his daughter sooner. If he had realized something was wrong sooner, he might have been able to save her. The investigator asks him how long Ashley was on the floor after her injury, and Zhao first says 2 to 3 minutes, but then he corrects himself.
No, it was much longer than that. We actually took her to the bathroom because she was vomiting. We took her to the bathroom and she vomited. So we vomited in the toilet, and then she got vomit all over. So we took her and rinsed her off in the bath, take her out. So she must have been breathing like that for about a good 5 minutes at least.
Okay.
At least. Because she was like, this green stuff came out. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like greenish, like light greenish tint.
Out of her vomit?
Yeah. So we took her to the bathroom and thought maybe get rid of that. And then she got it all over herself. So we rinsed her off, took her to the living room to dress her. And she was still breathing like that for a while. So overall, probably 5.
Were her eyes open? Was she responding?
Yeah, she was like overall, after she hit the carpet, she was probably breathing for another 5 to 10 minutes. Considering that, took her to the bathroom, had vomit on her, rinsed her off, then put clothes on her, and then let her sit there for a little while, and then I noticed that she started, she was breathing irregularly again. So when I thought she was breathing regularly, and then checked her, and then I realized that her heart had stopped, and that's when I started doing compressions. I did for a while, and then we started panicking. We didn't know what to do.
He remembers that she had started vomiting, quote, this green stuff, end quote, and they took her to the bathroom. They rinsed her off in the tub and put clean clothes on her. He says that after she hit her head on the carpet, she was breathing for 5 to 10 minutes. He says that they started panicking and didn't know what to do. Your 5-year-old has a head injury, whether from violence against them or an accident. They are vomiting and breathing loudly. Then they stop breathing, and you don't know what to do? The investigator asks him about calling 911.
First thing that came to my mind was, I'm going to lose JoJo, and my family's going to fall apart.
Who's JoJo?
My older daughter.
Your oldest daughter?
Yeah.
Did
JoJo's in school.
you or your wife tell each other to call 911?
I told her to go pick up JoJo, and I was going to stay here and call 911.
Why would you pick JoJo up?
Huh?
Why would you pick JoJo up?
I was going to tell her to go pick JoJo up, and I was going to call 911.
Why? School wasn't over at that time, right? It wasn't early, right?
No.
Well, this is 9:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she not go full?
No, she goes full day. I was going to tell my wife to go pick her up, so talked about it. And
Talked about what?
she says that, we're both afraid. We're both afraid what's going to happen if we call.
Okay.
I wanted to send her away so that, I'll be there. If someone gets in trouble, it'll be me, and she'll be okay. And I kind of wish it didn't happen this way. Now both of us are in really big trouble. But yeah, I wanted to send her away and, call the police. But then, both of us were afraid of what was going to happen. If we did, we were afraid that we're going to lose our daughter, we're going to lose our family, the restaurant, the house that we're getting, everything in our lives that we worked so hard for the past 6 years. This was going to be gone.
Okay.
So that fear.
He says that his first